Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fast Money Football. I'm your host, Albert Vartanian. I'm joined by my co-host today, Sara Poraria. And Sara, if you're like some other people who seem to think that there's actually a title race going on in the Premier League, then we're going to chat about it here. So far, Manchester City obviously leading the way. Big odds, as you can see, minus 800 to win the league. I don't think anyone's going to catch them. But if you do, please plead your case.
No, I think it's been kind of set in stone for a while now. They've just been so consistent. And the thing is, even though they tied Southampton on the weekend, I don't even think that phased anyone. It definitely didn't phase me. You can't win every single game, but they're nearly doing it. So honestly, they're so strong. They have so much depth. Like this is their league for sure.
Yeah, and like Pep said, they're not going to win every single game. There's going to be blips, but dropping points against Southampton, obviously not something that they want to do, but it really doesn't hurt them in this run, 9-game unbeaten run. But let's talk about some of the teams behind them. Let's start with Chelsea. Obviously, off to winning ways. Their first win, actually, of 2022, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this one. It was Chelsea's first win of 2022 over Spurs, and Spurs' first loss since Conte took over in the Premier League.
Bizarre. It's really bizarre. The things with Chelsea you have to remember is they've played 24 games and a bunch of the teams behind them, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, they all have games in hand on Chelsea. And that's what makes me a little nervous because Chelsea has dropped a little bit. But like Arsenal and Tottenham have 21 and 20 games. So if you look at that, you're like, whoa, if they theoretically win the next 4 games, where does that put Chelsea? I think Chelsea will still finish top 4, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hold that third position spot. Like I don't know what happened. They just look really wobbly.
Yeah, a few more drop points and the race is really on. I mean, look at the next Premier League game for Chelsea is in February 14th or 19th, excuse me. They have an FA Cup and a Club World Cup game before that. And then after that Premier League game on Feb 19, they got Champions League matches, EFL Cup final, all in there. So there's going to be a lot of fixture congestion. Thankfully for them, they're able to spend tons of money, so their squad depth is crazy. They can look on the bench against Spurs. They had Havertz and Timo Werner. I mean, those two players would start probably almost any team in the Premier League. So having that squad depth is going to help them. But the fixtures, they're going to come as fast as possible, and it's going to weigh them down, almost like a mini Christmas period coming up for Chelsea.
Yeah, no, and we've seen this in like the past years, especially with the COVID scheduling and stuff. But when teams are in, their Carabao Cup, FA Cup, or whatever, Copa del Rey, if they are, fighting for the league, if they're in Champions League, and then of course all these players go home and play for the World Cup or Euro qualifiers, it's exhausting. And that's when this is the moment always around February where we see injuries, and it's really tragic, but it's almost something that's inevitable because these players are playing way too much football. And as much as I love to see it, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and it goes back to depth, right, for these teams. That's one of the reasons why you need that, as you mentioned. Let's talk about Liverpool still winning games without MoSalah, without Sadio Mane, who are still at the African Cup of Nations. That can change in the next few days. Those two players can be dumped out and back into the Liverpool side. But like I said, they're still winning games. They have a shot here, but it's going to take an insane collapse for Manchester City to give up this lead.
Yeah, I still don't see it happening as much as Liverpool is like really showing their strength. I think, Klopp going to keep them in the top 4 for sure, but they're still in the Champions League as well. And I think they're going to put a lot of their effort into that too, because if they have a chance of winning a trophy, like they have that, and they have, they're going to the finals of, aren't they playing Chelsea in the EPL Cup final? Yeah. That's going to be nasty. But I think Klopp is kind of like, they'll finish top 4, but I think they have to prioritize getting a trophy somewhere else.
Absolutely. I guess we both agree, City?
Yeah.
Don't lay the minus 800, though. Please don't do that. I mean, you got to lay 800 just to make $100. Don't do it. Let's talk about top 4. Switching over here. Chelsea, big odds, minus 2,000. We just talked about their fixtures, and I think they could be in trouble depending on what happens in the next few weeks. But I want to go right to the bottom here. Look at Wolves, plus 2,500. Second best defensive record in the league, but unfortunately scoring goals is a bit of an issue. I think they scored the least amount of goals next to Norwich, who I think have 14. Wolves have 16. But there could be some good news for Wolves coming. Pedro Neto, their top scorer from last season, is only a few weeks away. And I think if they get that injection of offense added to that they already have defensively, they can make a serious push here, Sarah.
I think we can make a push, and I think we can see something like Europa League, but I'm still having trouble seeing Wolves pushing into the top
Come
four.
on.
I want them to. I would love that underdog story. And Wolves, especially over the last couple of years, have been such a prominent team in the PL, but I can't see them going past teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, even Arsenal. I don't know what's happening at Arsenal, but all of a sudden they kind of woke up, and I'm also here for it. I love Arsenal in fourth place. It's vintage. It's classic.
Well, half their team is suspended from red cards. At least their midfield is anyway. So there's a big issue there with Arsenal. And they keep loaning out players, postponing games. That can go on and on. But let's keep talking about Wolves. Listen to this one. I just had like their fixtures up here. Yeah. So in the next month, in February, they play Spurs, Arsenal, and West Ham. If they can get results from 3 of those games, they're right in the mix. And there's no more denying like, oh, the Wolves, yeah, they can maybe make Europa League. People want to say Europe and add Europa Conference League in there. I'm not about that. Let's just about that. It's Europa League, even that's on the fence, and the Champions League. But if they get, I don't know, 4 points from these 3 games, they're right in the middle of it.
No, they really are. And especially against a team like West Ham, man, West Ham fell off so much. And like, I don't trust them at all anymore. Like they should be doing so much better. And they really were like, they were in second place at one point in the league, or they were first even at the very beginning. But I think Wolves has a solid chance against that team. And like you said, when they play like teams like they have to play Arsenal as well, with everything going on at Arsenal, like you said, with suspensions, that could absolutely play to their advantage. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Spurs are that I think that'll be their toughest game out of the 3, but I do think Wolves have like a really solid chance against West Ham and potentially Arsenal, depending on where they stand with their players.
Yeah, speaking of Spurs, people are jumping all over them, obviously, for losing to Chelsea again. I think it's 3 times in the same month. I don't know what it is. They go to Chelsea and they don't turn up for whatever reason that may be. The squad obviously isn't good enough, according to Antonio Conte. New players coming in, might see Adam Traore coming in soon. A few other players from Serie A, they've been linked to a bunch, strikers and defenders and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. But for Spurs, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I mean, they're on 36 points. They're a point out of 5th, 2 points out of 4th. They win a game. They're back in the top 4. They've only lost 1 game in the Premier League under Conte. Yeah. What's the problem? Like, I don't see an issue there. I think they're actually punching above their weight compared to what we've seen in the past few seasons.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people are holding that Chelsea kind of rivalry over them. And like, you know, you have to consider whenever you're playing a derby, it's always going to be tough. Like London's a tough place to play. Stamford Bridge is like the fans are pretty ruthless. So I don't know. That to me isn't the issue. I guess it's just we didn't see Tottenham play for so long in December because of that COVID, whatever was happening there. So I don't know if they just lost too much time and we kind of got used to not seeing them. But there is this weird, like, I don't think the Spurs are doing that well. But when you look at the stats, you're like, no, but they are. Yeah. And no, I think we will see them. I predict Tottenham will be in the top 4 as well.
Oy! I like that. So you got Tottenham plus 162, and let's not forget the games in hand. They have 2 games in hand on United, game in hand on Arsenal, game in hand on Wolves, and 2 games in hand, or 3, on West Ham. So those are going to be important. If they bring in some new players, Son's going to come back from injury. I mean, this team can change in a blink of an eye, especially Antonio Conte. Look what he's done with the squad that they have now. So you like Spurs in the top 4. Who is in the rest of your top 4?
So we obviously have City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham. Honestly, the way it's set up here, no, okay. You know, I said it and I'm not sure, because for me, it's going to be a battle between Tottenham and Arsenal, which I love for that 4th spot. Yeah. I'm not putting anything on Manchester United. Absolutely not. The way like they've been playing, even the game against West Ham on the weekend, I was just like, you guys scored in like that last minute, like good on them. But no, this team I don't know what's going on there. I think they're still kind of trying to vibe with Rangnick, and it's tough. It's a tough position for them to be in. They just got a new coach, but I mean, look at what Conte's doing at Tottenham. So be better. United on your team.
United have a tremendous amount of quality, a bunch of game winners, game changers, and Paul Pogba's going to be coming back. So who knows what's going to happen with that team. I'm with you, though. I also don't trust them, but David De Gea is keeping them in game. So that's huge. My top 4, City, Liverpool, Chelsea. You know what? Earlier in the season, I was saying West Ham, but I think playing in the Europa League, lack of squad depth, they look really tired. And they look really tired in that United game. I want to say Spurs. Don't like Arsenal, but I also want to say Wolves. So I'm kind of all over the place here. Let's go Spurs. Liverpool, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, top 4. I kind of hope Wolves make it in there. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. Time to look at the bottom of the table, Sarah. Yeah. To be relegated, Norwich, minus 400, Watford, minus 350, Burnley, minus 200, Newcastle, plus 137. Not much value on the board here. So let's just figure out who we think is going to go down. Norwich, big result. 3-0 over Watford, which saw Claudio Ranieri, after 3 months in charge, fired at Watford. That's just what they do. I think every coach wants this job. You get the Watford job, you're fired in 3 months, you get a big payout, and you go on your way. I feel bad for Ranieri. I think after the Leicester thing, he should have retired. But anyway, back to the bottom 3. I think it's going to be Norwich, Watford, Burnley. Newcastle, too much money. I think probably the best coach out of the bottom 4. I mean, that's saying a lot with Sean Dyche there and what he's done for Burnley. But I think Newcastle are just going to have too much to stay up, and it looks like those other 3 are going down.
Well, it's something about Newcastle, too, because, like they said, they just have this new owner. They have all this money coming in. They have this new coach. And it would almost be, really tragic just for the league if they got relegated because,
So if who got relegated? Newcastle?
Yeah, because I think they have so much potential for next year and maybe even the following to, kind of be this powerhouse because they just have so much money. We don't know what they're going to do. So I don't know. It would be kind of sad, but at the same time comical to see them get relegated. You literally just you got a new coach, you got all this money, and now you're playing for championship. But no, I think I think it's gonna be the same, like what you said, Norwich, Watford, Burnley. But the thing is, I was just looking, Burnley has only played 18 games.
I know.
Chelsea's played 24. So we know that's the top and the lowest amount of games played. So that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, it's not that Burnley's a good team, but they just have so much more time to make these points up.
That's a great point.
It makes me a bit nervous there. I don't know. And they're only I'm looking just at the table now. So they have 12 points. Watford has 14. Newcastle has 15. Norwich has 16. So it's not that much. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. This is always, we're doing the too early takes. We never learn as fans. We never learn. The title race is over. The top 4 is locked up. Relegation is done. And it's never the case. One team, Sarah, that's not mentioned on that board. I didn't put them on there, but Everton, I think they're plus 600 to go down. They're too good. I mean, that team is too good to go down. But there's somewhat of a favorable fixture schedule coming up for them. And they also play Newcastle, I think, in a couple weeks. If they drop points in that game or the next 2 or 3 games, they're right in it. And they don't have a manager. They're still looking for one. Who's going to want to come in and take over that team to help them stay in the league? It's a big job. You're not going to get a high-profile manager to come over and take in that job. They might have to stay with Big Dunk or look at someone like a Sam Allardyce to come in and try and save them.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on at Everton. There's been so many ups and sorry?
The shambles over there.
Oh, no, it is. But then you look at that team and you're like, how are you guys possibly 16th or 15th? In what world am I seeing a team with Richarlison? What? Especially because last year they were solid last year. So I don't really know what's going on. Yeah, it might be a coaching thing. And like you said, who's going to replace them? Hard to say because they have to get rid of their coach first. I don't know. I'm a little speechless when it comes to them because I keep forgetting that they're just doing so poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Big Donkey's in there right now as the interim guy, and they're hoping that he's going to turn things around. They were hoping for a big bounce back against Aston Villa. That didn't happen. They lost 1-0 at home at Goodison Park. So I see these types of results, and it really worries me. But, I mean, I keep going back to it. There's just too much quality in that team. Yes, they've had a lot of injuries in the past, but look, they have England's #1 in net. They have, a really good right back in Seamus Coleman. Yes, they shipped off Lucas Digne, which was a big mistake, I think, to Aston Villa. You got an assist in that game, by the way.
Yeah,
but Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Allen, Doucouré, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina. I mean, these are players that should be playing in the Premier League and have the quality not to go down. But, I mean, we've seen crazier things, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't picture them getting relegated. Like you said, there is just too much talent on the team. But I mean, they need to get it together because they shouldn't even be where they are right now.
Okay, so who's going down? One more time.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with Burnley, Watford, and Norwich. But the more I've thought about it, the more like it actually would be crazy if Burnley somehow came and just took those games in hand and jumped all of them, pushing Newcastle
They
down.
could.
Like I think it would also just cause like so much controversy in the EPL if all of a sudden the team with the most money is now no longer in it.
Just floundering around in the championship. But look at Burnley's next game, Watford, and then United and then Liverpool. So it's a tough little run, and that Watford game is massive. That is a must-win in my opinion. Yeah, if you're at the bottom of the league, must-win. And Watford, obviously, disarray, no manager. But those are our futures. Those are our picks for the futures in the Premier League. We'll be back tomorrow. Me and Sarah, we're going to chat some more. We'll probably chat some maybe Canada soccer coming up on Thursday. Yeah, sounds good.
I love it. Yeah.
All right, that's it for Fast Money Football. You can follow us at The Parlay for all your parlay betting content. Thanks, guys.